start. The trip there was pretty good. It was simple. We just went to Hartford, got in the convention center, parked in the garage, and we got in, and there was no line. We just went right up to the ticket booth. We bought our tickets in advance, so it was like we just scanned and got our little passes.
Yeah.
And then we just went up the escalator and it was right in. No masks, so it was like just relaxed. Yeah. And oh my god, the vibe was so good.
Yeah. No, it was really chill. I didn't really find any like rude people or anything.
No, I didn't get punched. I didn't get elbowed in the face this time.
No,
so that's
I didn't
great.
either. I didn't get pushed at all. There was definitely not as many people on Sunday, so I think it was just all...
Yeah, it wasn't insanely overcrowded like frickin' Anime Boston was.
In Anime Boston, I've come to realize that what probably happened is they sold all the tickets from 2020, and then they just never, like, they spent all the money from those tickets and they needed more money. So they sold equally as much tickets for 2022. And I think that's why. I think they had way too many people there than they should have, and they oversold tickets, and I think that's why it was.
Yeah, like it was. Hey guys, I'm Bill, also known as the Barbecue Games on Instagram.
And I'm Alex, his sister, who brings only chaos.
And together we are the Gaming and Collecting Podcast, a mostly video game centered podcast.
But half the time, we just talk about anime.
And that collecting thing, well, that's mostly just an implication at best.
So come along and enjoy us on this adventure
as we discuss the games that shaped us. So, it's been a while.
It has. When was the last time we recorded?
Like a month ago.
Shit.
Thank God we record a lot in advance.
Yes. Yes, we did. But it was all for a reason.
Yeah, because we've been very busy the last month.
Well, I have been. I've been stressed.
Yep.
I was all stressed for the last month. But it's finally over. And the big news is, I bought a condo.
Yeah. So we spent the last month preparing for a move.
And it is like, moving and like buying a house is like such a pain in the ass. It's like...
Yeah, especially now, because the world is still effed up right now, so...
Well, you think it's fun, but like, oh my god, it's just so stressful. And like, go places, and then you like, show up there and you're like, oh my god, this is the sketchiest house I've ever seen, what the hell?
Like the pot house.
Oh my god, yeah. There was one house we went to where, like, the whole front was, like, beautiful, now lovely bedrooms, like, it just been redone. And then we go in the basement, and it's like, this is a little weird. And then I open this room, and it's just a wall covered in, like, tin foil walls. I don't know exactly how it works, but apparently it's to help you grow some weed. And then I go in there, like, have a little craft room, and I'm like, yes. This confirms it. It was very psychedelic, is the best way to describe it. It was a time, or like, I don't know, like people would there was one house that had a spiral staircase that actually looked kind of cute, but then like it led into the master bedroom, and then it basically like, there's no door, so the master bedroom was just open to the living room.
Yes.
And I was like, this is horrible. And in the basement, they cut through the foundation, and I was like, that's terrifying. Because they added on to it, and I was like, that's scary.
Yes. So yeah, the fun world of finding a home.
Yep. And then the process of buying one is like just as stressful, because you have to have so much paperwork and so many things, and you can't open any credit cards, and you can't do certain things, or else you'll mess everything up. So I've been so stressed, but now I'm not as stressed. And then there's moving.
Yeah, moving. That's an adventure in itself. U-Haul sucks, by the way.
Yeah, we hate U-Haul.
Terrible freaking company.
For multiple reasons. So, my U-Haul story is that when the day we were moving, my mom and I are driving back. We're on the middle of the highway. It's like a 4-lane highway. No, 3-lane. We're in the middle lane, and then the car just stops working. The truck just stops working in the middle of the highway. And it was terrifying because no one wanted to let us pull over from the middle lane. So I was physically halfway out the window waving my arms at people to, like, please let us pull over. Like, the truck is breaking down.
Yeah.
And my cat was in the car, which was made it 50 times worse because I'm having a panic attack and she's, like, all freaked out because I'm freaked out. And then customer service was probably the worst customer service ever. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll, like, have someone there in, like, maybe an hour or two. And I was like, an hour? We don't have time. We're going to freaking die. Like, the truck was, like, in the road. So then they're like, oh, you should call the police. And then they hung up on us. And I was like, great. I hate you. So we had to call the police. And the police guy who came to help us was friends with someone who works at U-Haul. So he was then able to kind of help us.
Yeah.
Expedite the process. And then he was able to get, like, a tow truck to come. And this tow truck is this tiny tow truck that can't physically pull the U-Haul. So we're going, like, 20 miles per hour down the highway just to get us off the highway because we were right by an exit. And he pulls us into this random parking lot. And then and then he goes to look at the truck and then he tries to turn it over. And he turns the truck over. And we're like, the hell? So he's like, you know what? I think the gas gauge must be broken and it must have ran out of gas. And we were like, are you kidding? So we go and we fill it with gas and of course, the gas gauge never moved an inch. It stayed exactly in place. So, it ran out of gas because the gas gauge was broken. We had no idea.
Yep.
And
I'm sure they had no idea.
We're returning it, and Mom is pissed, so she's basically not yelling at him, but basically sternly telling him about everything that happened. And
yes.
It was basically a nightmare. But we're moved in. We've got mostly everything set up. I love the place, but fuck U-Haul. What's your U-Haul story, Bill?
So we ordered the U-Haul to move all my stuff from, like, Massachusetts to Connecticut, and so they had to reschedule it because I guess they didn't have any at the place in our hometown. So we go to this, like, other location that had one. It's, like, in this, like, gas station. No, not even a gas station. Like, just a random convenience store off the side of the road.
Yep.
And so we're kind of like, okay, that's a little weird. But we see the U-Haul, and we're like, okay, that's fine. So we go in, and so the guys working at the counter were very friendly, very helpful. There was a bit of a language barrier, which made it a little difficult to talk with them, but they tried their hardest.
Yep.
The problem was they weren't really a U-Haul place. They just had U-Hauls that were kind of like you'd come in and, like, you'd get the key from, like, a drop box kind of thing.
Yep.
So we were supposed to get a code from that, even though we had specifically ordered one so we wouldn't have to do that, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So they tell us we have to call this number. So we call the number, and of course no one answers. So then we're, like, trying to get through customer service. We're trying to do the whole process online, and they're, like, not helping us. We wait for, like, 3 hours out in the freaking baking sun just to try and get, like, someone to, like, answer the phone, get off of the freaking customer service. It became a freaking mess. We're getting pissed. We were supposed to be there at 10 exactly to get the thing. We didn't get the thing until, like, 11:30.
Ugh.
And then we finally, like, I'm talking to the guys inside. They're, like, telling me, they're like, this happens all the time. Like, the person on the phone sucks. He never answers the phone. Eventually, like, they managed to get the key for us, and, like, we left. But it was, like, it was ridiculous. Like, their customer service is terrible. They don't give a shit.
It really
about the
is
people.
the worst. And the worst thing about U-Haul is it's basically a monopoly over, like, the short distance move. Like, not the, like, across country move. Because, like, they're the cheapest rates for, like, if you're only going a certain miles and you need it for one day. Because, like, to get a Penske for, like, a day, it was, like, $600. Because they don't charge mileage, so they just do a higher fee.
Yeah.
So U-Haul basically has the whole monopoly over it, and it's, like, it's awful. I freaking hate U-Haul. Like, I don't care. Next time I'm just gonna go with the Penske, because, like, every time I've done Penske, they've been great and super helpful. But U-Haul is the worst. And even, like, the U-Haul I was trying to rent from originally, like, I rented from one in the town that I was actually closer to the town that I was moving to rather than the town my apartment was in. Because the one nearest my apartment, oh my god, all the reviews were horrible. Like, they scam you. They'll, like, charge you for so many things that don't happen. They'll, like, you bring the truck in and they'll damage it after just to charge you. And I was like, oh my god. Like, I was like, I'm not renting from them. Screw that.
Yeah.
So I looked, like, closer and I was like, just the whole experience with U-Haul is awful. And I still need to try and get my money back because that was... I really thought we were going to die on the highway. Like, I thought a truck was going to crash into us and we were going to die. So, I'm glad we didn't die. And I'm glad none of my stuff got destroyed, too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm shocked about, too, because when it was putting us on the trailer, like the tow truck, that truck was bouncing up and down. Like, I am shocked. I have, like, a glass tabletop that goes over my dining room table, and I am shocked it's not broken.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a stressful weekend. A lot of, basically it was a lot of, like, stress and then a lot of fucking moving. Picking up boxes, bringing them in.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
We were so...
assembling
I
furniture.
think I lost, like, 5 pounds during that move. Like, I was working so hard.
we got all those freaking boxes in the house.
Yep. And then we're, like, getting rid of the boxes.
Yeah, we're getting
Is the next
through
thing.
everything, freaking sifting through, waiting for furniture to arrive.
Yeah.
It was a very stressful period, but thankfully the house is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I love my room, and Bill really loves his room in the house, so...
Yep, I got a game room now set up. I have my collection again.
Check out his Instagram.
I've shared.
You might
I'm gonna
have
do
seen
it. I'll do a tour at some point. I said I would.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a visitor. Hello, Miss Tillard.
Maybe I'll do a figure tour. Tillard loves the new place. Tillard's my cat, for anyone who doesn't know.
Everyone knows the
I
Tillard.
know, but maybe someone new's listening and they don't know who Tillard is. Tillard's my cat. She's really bitchy, but we like her.
Yeah.
And the house has all these huge windows, and she just loves to sit in them. But at night, she sees her reflection, so she just keeps hissing at herself, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. Yep. But anyways, so besides that, I mean, everything worked out for the better.
Sing?
We're much closer to our current.
Did you hear that? Did you hear?
But anyways, yeah, we're much closer to our place of employment right now, so that's great.
Yes. Oh my God, the 20 minutes compared to almost an hour. Like, it's wonderful, and it's so much. Like, I'm gonna be joining a gym soon, and I can't wait to lose weight because I'm really fat and ugly and assault. So I'm excited for that. And it's exciting. All my neighbors have been super nice, so. Woo!
Yep. But in between that, we actually went to a convention.
Yeah, we actually did. The day I moved in, it was like I moved all my stuff on Saturday. We went to the convention Sunday, and then Bill moved his stuff on Monday.
Yep.
So it literally was in between moving.
Yep. So the convention we went to Retro World once again. So this was actually the first year I think we've ever gone on a Sunday.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, we went on set.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we've ever been... Oh, Tilly just jumped on the couch.
We've only been on Saturdays the previous 2 years we went.
Yeah.
And Sunday was surprisingly chill.
Oh my god, honestly, it was probably the best convention I've been to in a while.
Yeah, especially
compared to Anime Boston, which sucked ass.
Yeah.
Like, that's
So,
the truth. It was horrible.
I guess to start, the trip there was pretty good. It was simple. We just went to Hartford, got in the convention center, parked in the garage, and we got in, and there was no line. We just went right up to the ticket booth. We bought our tickets in advance, so it was like we just scanned and got our little passes.
Yeah.
And then we just went up the escalator and it was right in. No masks, so it was like just relaxed. Yeah. And oh my god, the vibe was so good.
Yeah. No, it was really chill. I didn't really find any like rude people or anything.
No, I didn't get punched. I didn't get elbowed in the face this time.
No,
so that's
I didn't
great.
either. I didn't get pushed at all, and there was definitely not as many people on Sunday, so I think it was just all.
Yeah, it wasn't insanely overcrowded like freaking Anime Boston was.
In Anime Boston, I've come to realize that what probably happened is they sold all the tickets from 2020, and then they just never, like, they spent all the money from those tickets and they needed more money, so they sold equally as much tickets for 2022. And I think that's why. I think there was just, they had way too many people there than they should have, and they oversold tickets, and I think that's why it was a disaster.
like it was comparing. So Anime Boston, like you could barely walk around. It was so crowded.
Yeah.
Retro World, like plenty of space. Like you didn't like if you stopped for a second, you wouldn't get like swarmed.
Yeah.
Like there was plenty of breathing room. Everyone was super polite. Like I didn't run into like a single rude person.
Yeah. And all the vendors were like super
Personable.
chill, and like they wanted to chat a little bit if you wanted to chat, like super nice. And just it was awesome to support, like, because a lot of those, like, those are people's businesses, like State Line.
I don't think State Line was there.
Yeah, they were.
Were they?
They had the booth.
Oh.
I'm pretty certain I saw them.
I didn't.
Maybe
notice.
not. Maybe I'm thinking of a different. Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of the other one. That was by my old work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were there, and it's cool to support small businesses and
basically, to describe Retro World, it is literally a gaming convention, like through and through.
Yeah.
And the best way to describe it is it's essentially a giant swap meet.
Yeah.
Like it's just vendors everywhere, and you buy a bunch of games. It's also a wrestling competition, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's like a huge competition. I think it's just like a tiny thing, but it is there. And they set up like a bunch of like games and stuff.
Yeah,
for
there's a
people to
gaming
play.
area. That awesome Mario Kart was back again.
Yeah, the Mario Kart and the cool like TV artwork like that. Oh, I think that was State Line.
I don't
I'm certain.
know.
Pull the picture up. Like I am certain that said State Line on it. Like I'm like 99%.
The only reason I'm hesitant about State Line is that's really out of the way for State Line.
I don't know though, but they used to have one in Connecticut. Remember?
Yeah.
Doesn't that say that?
No. No.
Oh, never mind.
I don't think State Line was there.
Shit! I thought it said that, but I guess
No.
not. Oh well.
But yeah. So it was so relaxing, and the coolest thing was
Also, we're not sponsored by them. We just like their store. And that's not why I'm saying it like 50 million times.
we're not sponsored by Bowser's Basement either. We mention them all the time as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it was super relaxing. Like everyone was happy too. Like I didn't see a single miserable person there.
No.
And so we did the usual. We were mostly there. It was mostly an excuse to go shopping.
And it was an excuse to kind of just take a break from unpacking and just relax a little bit. That was nice too, because we unpacked so many boxes.
Yeah. So we did the usual rounds. Like we kind of went from booth to booth, and if I saw something I was interested in, I'd pick it up. The thing about a convention like that is you really have to know what you're buying, and like you got to kind of like scope things out, because like you'll find things and you'll like if everyone there's there to make money, you gotta remember.
Oh yeah.
So you got to be careful with what you buy and like.
Oh, excuse me.
Lovely.
Cut it out.
No.
Cut it out, please. I didn't mean to burp. I was holding it in. No, everyone's gonna think I'm gross now.
Oh, shut up. But anyways, so going around, we found a whole bunch of stuff. It was cool. Like most of those booths are there every year.
Yeah.
Which was really fun. So you'd go around, you'd see people that you've seen in previous years, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna stop there again. So we went from booth to booth, and I got a pretty decent score this year. So.
Oh yeah. Explain what you bought.
My haul this year. So a lot of the times when I go, I'll have like a predetermined like list of like what I'm trying to find.
But you didn't this year.
No, this year I went in completely just blank. Like I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna see.
Here for a good time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see what happens. So we started our journey, and the first booth I found actually was they were selling 3DO games. So I bought a couple big 3DO big box complete 3DO games. So I got a copy of Shockwave, and this game called Cyberia. And what we noticed real quick was we didn't bring, because we're still used to like the COVID conventions, so we didn't have bags with us.
Oh yeah.
So then we were searching for a bag, and we found this nice booth that was selling like these handmade like little like totes.
Yeah, they were like these little tote bag, like little what's the word? Canvas tote bags, but they had like painted images on them, and
so
they were really cool.
I bought this one that said like Sonic the Hedgehog on the side of it. And that became my bag for all my finds for the rest of the convention. So I grabbed that, and then I kind of went from booth to booth. There was a booth that I went last year, and I found copies of two more Atari Jaguar games. I got Cannon Fodder and Atari Jaguar Doom, which was really fun.
Playing some Jag.
Yeah. I went around. I got a copy of Diablo 1 for the PlayStation. That was probably my rarest game I bought during the
How
trip.
much was that one again?
It was like 120, I want to say, which wasn't bad. Then there was this cool booth. It was like a lot of imports. So I got a couple imported PlayStation and Saturn
that
games.
one was a cool one. Like having all the that was cool.
Yeah, and the vendor, I think he actually was from Japan. He was really friendly. He was like happy to do business with us. So he was cool. We moved around. There was you know what I noticed a lot of? There was a lot of booths selling ROM cards this year, like English translations of like previously Japanese exclusive games, which I've always been kind of hit or miss on that. But sometimes you see a game like that you really just want to play that didn't come out over here. And what's fun about ROM cards is you can play them in the original hardware. So I found a copy of Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War, which is the one Fire Emblem I've never played. And so that was cool to finally have a way to play it. And then there was also so I guess spoiler for Season 3, we found this one booth that we were just kind of browsing it, and Alex noticed this controller sitting on the thing. It was an N64 controller that was redesigned to be more like a GameCube controller.
Yeah.
So I saw that, and I was talking to the guy selling it, and he said, "Oh, it's $20." I was like, "Sure, I'll buy that." So I bought the controller because our goal for next year is we want to do an N64 revisited, where we're gonna give it a second shot. But
basically me give it a second shot.
But I bought that controller because I knew for a fact that Alex might actually enjoy it with a regular controller.
We'll see. I'm not making any promises that I'm gonna like it, but I will give it another shot, and we'll do a podcast about it. And I'll probably still hate the N64, but you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I also found.
Probably yes.
I also bought a couple Wonder Swan games, which were kind of cool. I got this Hunter x Hunter game I saw.
Oh yeah.
And this other one, which I still don't know what it is.
There's a bunch of Wonder Swan games, like.
Wonder Swan is a really fun handheld that I'd like to collect more for. The problem is though it was only released in Japan, so everything's import on it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anime games like One Piece, Inuyasha, like all sorts of them. Yep. So there was that, and then I also bought that painting.
Yep.
The Byleth painting, which was
Oh yeah, and I love that they framed it too. And it was like that was such a nice interaction because the artist was so excited.
Yeah, that I bought it. What was funny though is I saw the price because they had them on the side, and I got the money out, and I asked about getting the painting, and she asked me, "Oh, do you want it framed?" And I'm like, "Oh, how much is it framed?" And she told me the price. I'm like, "Oh, that was what I was going to pay anyways." Yeah, so I'll get the frame.
Yeah.
And she was like super pumped that someone bought her painting, which was really nice.
Yeah. It's always exciting when you make that's the thing. Like Retro World, it was just so much more personable and connection. And honestly, I think especially that was the problem with Anime Boston. I think the people were just worn out because there were so many people.
They were understaffed.
Overworked, understaffed.
Everyone had to wear masks in a really hot fucking room.
There was way too many people there. Like I am telling you that if they had a fire code person there, they would have shut that down. Because there was way too many people.
You couldn't
there.
walk.
If there was a fire, people would have died. That's the real truth.
After a convention, I had to do the after Anime Boston, my hips literally hurt because I was doing the convention shuffle the entire time.
Yeah.
But at Retro World, I don't think I had to do the shuffle once.
No, I don't think I did either. No, it was just comfortable. It was comfortable. It was
relaxed. It wasn't overly.
Chill.
It wasn't too hot. That was the key thing.
The thing is though is we did go on a Sunday, so that can have something to do with it.
I was surprised by the amount of quality stuff though that was still there by the end. But I guess the final thing I found too was we did one final sweep around, and I got this copy of a rare DS game called Contact, which I've been really interested in trying out. It's this really retro style RPG that was made by Suda51 of like No More Heroes fame. So I've been meaning to try that one. But anyways, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yeet! Break time!
And we're back.
I just thought I'd get an awkward pause.
Of course you did.
What are you drinking,
Yeah,
Bill?
we didn't see what we were drinking.
We're out of practice.
Yeah, it's been a while. Also, we've done most of ours in the day, so we haven't been drinking lately.
Yes.
I'm drinking currently a Crook and Marker margarita in a can.
Huh? How is it?
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh. Sip. First sip.
Tastes like a margarita.
Oh, nice.
Not as quite like a Cayman Jack margarita, but it's a bit more like, not as sweet. It's kind of more actually like a real margarita.
Huh. I am drinking a pineapple punch fruit smash super hard seltzer.
Oh, that's the funny one. So I guessed it on a drinking podcast last night, the Hey Drunk Gamers podcast, and I was drinking one of those during the podcast, and I had the other two flavors, which I liked. I took a sip of that one on the podcast, and I think there's a video version of it. You literally can see me grimace because I thought it was disgusting.
I'm not a fan, I won't lie. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the super hard ones, but you bought them anyway.
That's all they had.
Gross.
But, yeah, so that was a really funny thing.
I like the regular ones, but I'm not a fan of the super hard ones. For some reason, they're almost sweeter. I don't
Which
like
is funny because they have more alcohol.
Well, they try and mask it with sweetness. But I'm not a fan. I don't love them that much.
But, anyways, so moving back on, you got two things.
Go. Ow. Ow. That really hurt. That was my knee.
Yeah.
My... Please cut that out. Please cut it out.
So anyways, you got two things at Retro World as well.
You can't just stop talking. This is the worst day ever. I'm so tired. Those things make me burn.
You bought your own drinks at the liquor store, and yet you grabbed one of those.
No, they're not cold yet. They were only in the fridge for like 2 minutes.
There was a Cayman Jack you could have grabbed.
Shit, I should have grabbed that. Damn it, I'll grab that next.
But anyways, so you got two things at Retro World as well?
Yeah, I got 2 anime figures. I got a Vegeta's doing Super Saiyan Blue Who, and then I got a Future Trunks being Future Trunks.
With blue hair Future
And they were
Trunks.
like, a lot of, I noticed like a bunch of the Dragon Ball figures kind of have matching ones, like they go in sets, and it was like a little set.
Yeah, Toriyama's artwork like really translates well into figures.
It really does. I like it.
Yeah. So you went there. You saw a couple other figures that you were curious about, but they were overpriced.
There was a lot. Like, there's one booth that had a bunch, and a lot of them were overpriced. And I was like,
Unfortunately, they have to sell them for that to make money. So.
I know, but like there was one booth that had like these one-piece red figures, which I was like tempted. But like you can buy them for like $25 on Crunchyroll, and there they were selling it for $59, and I was like, that's nuts. I'm not doing that. I know, like, it's okay if it's something rare, but like if it's not even rare, like, don't do it. Don't fall for the prices, people. It's not worth it.
Yeah, so there was that. There was also I saw a few games that I really wanted. I just could not justify the price. One of them was I saw a booth that had a copy of Project Justice for the Sega Dreamcast. That is like one of the few Dreamcast fighting games I'm still on the hunt for. Unfortunately, they were asking $300 for it, which is around what it goes for these days. But I didn't have the cash on me, and I didn't really want to use my card, my debit card. So I asked if they had like wait if they could take credit, and they couldn't, so I had to pass on it, which sucked because I've been searching for that game forever now.
Well, you never know.
I mean, other than that, there was a few like rare like stuff. Like I saw a lot of like I saw a whole bunch of like different like consoles that were kind of tempting. Like there was an Odyssey again, another Odyssey. A whole bunch of old Ataris, and like I saw a top-loading 3DO too. That was interesting.
Oh, nice.
I have my front-loading one though, so I really had no reason to get it.
Yeah, you're like, it's silly for me to get this.
There was also a lot of stuff that was just kind of like I'd really like that, but at the same time I just
can't justify.
I can't justify it. And I'm just getting it to own it at that point.
Yeah.
And I still like to follow my strict collecting rule of only collecting things I actually want to play.
That's smart.
But sometimes you see something and you're like, I really want that, but
I really need it. I need it.
I was interested this year. There was a decent amount of anime stuff as opposed to like just straight up gaming, like it had been in previous years. Like, because usually it's like it's all about the games. Another fun thing I noticed too was because people were a lot more personable this year at this convention. I noticed a lot of I want to say first-time collectors throughout the convention.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Like, because I was going from booth to booth, and you'd find people who were like talking about like their first out, like this was like one of their first big collecting outings, and they were saying how they were looking for certain things. And it gave me a nostalgic flashback to like when I first started.
When you did?
Yeah, and like back when it was such like a new thing, and like
Nation.
You were like finding things for the first time that you'd never heard of, and like that first like I always like think back to like that first experience like using the Dreamcast, that first experience using like a Saturn, or like holding a Game Gear, like things like that, because those are experiences that you'll like never get again. And a lot of the times like
Brain fart?
not a brain fart, I'm trying to phrase it right. A lot of the times it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you think you'd grow out of it and get tired of it after a while, and admittedly collecting right now is not the funnest thing in the world, just because it's so expensive, and like everybody's trying to rip each other off now.
I didn't see any of like the graded games though. Like, remember that last time?
Yeah,
like,
I think people are finally moving on from that.
I didn't see any of that.
I saw graded comics, but that's a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
There was a few booths though that like you'd go and you could clearly tell they had already been picked clean on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because some booths like just had nothing left, and I was like, yeah.
Even some of the place that I got the figures, you could tell that he probably had a lot more figures before, and they were just gone.
Oh, I also got you that One Piece game.
Yeah, you did. That was nice of you.
I got her this One Piece party game for the GameCube.
We're gonna play it at some point.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about it.
Well, we're gonna do anime games. We're gonna talk anime games at some point.
Woo-hoo.
We just have to play them first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was entertaining though. There was I'll say it again. The vibe was so relaxed.
It really was.
Like I've not. Like after I lost faith in humanity a little after Anime Boston.
Understandable. I did too.
And Retro World brought it back a little, because it showed me that okay, Boston just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
no, honestly, yeah. It was just like, I don't know. I honestly think the reason Anime Boston sucked so much is just because they were way understaffed.
Way overpacked.
Yeah.
Way too heavily regulated.
Yeah.
Especially for when we went, because it was like ridiculous. Especially when you took 2 feet out of the convention center and it looked like freaking a different planet.
I know. I think it was just...
It was a lot of things. And it was... Retro World definitely handled it better. It amazed me how, like, Retro World had less security than Anime Boston did.
Yeah.
And yet I felt safer at Retro World.
I did feel... I mean, I think it comes back to the amount of people, because at least, like, at Retro World, there was a managed amount of people. And the system for exiting and entering was a good system. And, I mean, it's not, like, a heavily cosplay convention.
Yeah.
So there isn't people really walking around with, like, big props or anything like that. Anime Boston, though, like, as we talked about before, This is kind of becoming a comparison episode, but it's just relatable when chatting. Since
Well,
the last one was so negative.
The thing is too, like when we're talking about Retro World, not much changed. Like
no, really
between like the
didn't.
previous years, like all that really was different this year was no masks.
Yeah. The last one was super fun too. And this time was great. And I don't know, I'm still weirded out just by. It still really bothered me, the security at Anime Boston. Like the fact that like they didn't metal detect you or really anything. Like,
No, you went.
Just,
They did metal detect you. They just didn't bother to.
yeah,
They didn't give a shit
like,
if you went
went
off.
off. Like they just didn't care, and it was just.
Well, you got to understand though, literally one dude was running security at Anime Boston.
But that's scary.
Previous years,
especially-
there was like 4 lines.
Yeah, it was like thinking it back, it's scary because honestly, like someone probably could have slipped in there with a weapon and hurt a lot of people, and they would have let them just by the security. It's scary to think about, but unfortunately, that's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
And you have to think about things like that, and that's really scary. So I sincerely hope that Anime Boston does not sell as many tickets as they did this year. Because I mean, I'm sure it was a disaster, and I honestly believe we were not the only people who felt that way.
Yeah, like it was just such a weird vibe. Like I've never felt. That was like the most uncomfortable at a convention I ever.
I've never felt unsafe at a convention until Anime Boston that year.
Which is
felt very
insane
unsafe.
because Retro World, like I said, there was no like bag checks or anything. Well, there was weapon checks for cosplays, but that guy had the easiest freaking job ever because there was barely any cosplays. But other than that, like there was so much staff at Retro World.
Yeah.
For how small that convention actually is.
There was a lot of people, and just everyone was just really nice.
You also have to understand that the collector mindsets are very different.
Yeah.
Because people at a convention like that are all there for the same reason.
I wanted to talk about, there was this one booth, they had like an artist area where it's people selling their artwork, but there was one booth where the guy was actually live painting.
I saw
and that was sick. Like he did like a bunch of these, like he did One Piece portraits and like Dragon Ball portraits. And when we walked by, he was doing a Blue Eyes White Dragon painting, and it was awesome. Like it was so cool, and like that at Anime Boston would never happen because it was too crowded.
It was too crowded and it was too hot.
But that was it was so awesome, and it was just awesome to see the artist in his element. Like I was tempted to buy a painting, but I also didn't want to interrupt him because like he was just like he was in the zone. He was just like. It was awesome. Like
the artists at Retro World are like the best because they literally are so happy when you buy it. Because it's funny because that's such a gaming convention that like
not a lot
the
of people
artists
go there for art.
Yeah, the artists feel kind of like extra.
Yeah.
And when you buy their art, they are they are so appreciative.
They really are.
Because you're literally like you're not even there for them. You're there
No.
for everything else, and they're just kind of like you go by and
They're
you're like
there for the
ooh.
games.
Like, and it's always the same ones too every year.
Yeah.
Like, I think like the majority of my artwork I own that I have up on my wall, it's mostly from Retro World.
In some Anime Boston.
I have a couple from Anime Boston and then a few from Kineticon.
Yep.
But
I want to do Kineticon again next
I'd like
year.
to do Kineticon. I'd also like to do Rhode Island Comic Con because
I
I've
think
heard
that's coming up.
we gotta watch for that because I've heard Rhode Island Comic Con is like the best Comic Con in the area right now because Boston Comic Con hasn't been good since Fan Expo took over.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Actually, let me see. It says November 4th to... Oh, we gotta buy tickets. I gotta get a cosplay together.
I gotta look into that. But yeah, so it was definitely one of the best conventions I think we've been to in a while. It was just such a contrast to Anime Boston. Like Anime Boston like bummed me out for like an entire day.
Yeah.
With just how
No, it really did leave me feeling down. I mean, granted, we didn't have the best day starting and getting there, but really, like, it was a bummer. Like, it was kind of sad. But I think the sad part is we've been to Anime Boston and it has been really fun before.
the previous years, and it's like wow, you'd be amazed how much overcrowding and just understaffing can kill a convention.
It really does ruin it.
It's funny though. We didn't have any funny like people interactions this at Retro World this
No,
year,
we didn't have any boba tea or anything
or
like
the
that.
Wii Games kid. Honestly, it's probably for the better, just because it's more relaxed.
Yeah, more relaxed.
Not a lot of young children there, like the ones that
There were
were,
some.
but they were well behaved. That's the
Yeah.
thing, which is great.
Mine is the one I saw throw something on the ground, but
No, I mean you can't.
disregard.
Nothing can be perfect. Like
Oh
that.
yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh.
It was like, oops.
I was like, move your kid out of the way.
Yeah. But then we went home and relaxed for the rest of the day. Went and bought picture frames so I could frame all my art that I bought. Went through our stuff. And then we basically just kind of relaxed the rest of the night and unpacked.
Yeah.
Got back into getting the house ready so we could move more stuff the next day.
And I was like, I set up my PC and stuff, and I like how it came out. I set my PC with my printer.
And then I spent all of the following day just setting up and getting things where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Mostly it was waiting for the shelves I ordered to come in because I had to build these IKEA shelves and it took me 3 hours to do.
Oh boy.
Well, because I did them by myself because Alex was outside building an umbrella. That almost killed me and our mother.
Oh my god! It wasn't just the umbrella; it was the lounge furniture too. It was also digging a hole for the umbrella to go in so it didn't tip over. It was.
Yeah, it fell on me and our mother. It was really bad.
I felt so bad about. I didn't mean to. It was just like it literally flew out of my hand because it was just so off kilter and off weight. But
there was also getting locked out of your garage. That was.
Oh yeah, that was fun. But we got that figured out, which was good.
I had to credit card the door. That was
that was broke
bizarre.
in, which was.
And then the previous owners showed up and gave us the keys because they accidentally had them.
Oh, well, that was really nice of them.
That was. It was funny though.
That was super nice. They felt super bad, and it was nice. I was having such a rough day that I needed something.
The faith in humanity needed to be restored a little.
It really did, because my faith in humanity was like non-existent at that point.
Yeah.
I was just having a super rough day.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here.
We're relaxed.
We are.
And it's been another day.
Yeah.
But so that's really all about what happened. I guess we're just getting back in the swing of things. I guess we wanted to give an update and talk about Retro World a little bit.
Yeah, and eventually we'll do a house tour.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
But
house tour. Well, more of like our gaming tour. I guess.
I'm definitely going to do a
gaming
tour.
and collecting tour.
Yeah, I'm going to do a tour of the game room at some point.
I'll do a figure tour. Just kidding. No one likes my.
Oh, shut up. You got like 4
No
likes.
one likes my Luffy stride.
But anyways, guys, so like always, the Gaming Collecting Podcast can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. We're on Amazon. We're on Amazon Podcast now.
Oh, cool.
We're
I didn't
also
know they had podcasts,
yeah, I
but
didn't
Amazon
either.
has everything. It's
Yeah.
taking over. We are Amazon.
Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, also on Good Pods. We're made with Anchor Podcasts.
Woo.
And the episodes will eventually, now that we have a home now, I'm going to eventually get started on getting the episodes on YouTube again. It's going to take me a while to catch up. But regardless, I'd also like to plug, I've recently started a second podcast, which is a bit of a side project called the 3DO Experience.
He doesn't want a podcast from me anymore. He's going to replace me with Tillard. Ow.
But
So...
yeah, it's a side project where I'm going to talk about the 3DO console and like the 3DO company. No schedule on that though. That's completely whenever I have an episode done kind of thing. But anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on the Gaming and Collecting Podcast, and we will see you all next time.
See you later, alligators.
All right. Bye.